lovely friends. My name is Tsetsi, and today I'm going to show you my process of making concrete pots, concrete planters at home with only a few ingredients that we have available, which is some concrete, some vermiculite, and some water. So let's get started. First things first, we're going to need the concrete, which Jelio, the cameraman, hasn't brought it for me. Where's my concrete? I think it's around the corner over there under the chair. So go ahead and bring it. Thank you. Okay, when I say I didn't have concrete, I wasn't lying, but I actually have something even better than concrete, and that's this right here. We call it, what do we call this in Bulgaria? We call this marmadon. And basically this is white concrete mixed with several types of glues. So let's get started first of all. We will need some gloves, and the cameraman hasn't brought me any gloves, which I did ask for, didn't I? Where's my gloves? Where's my gloves, garçon? Over there. Very good, thank you. All right, now we can get started. So firstly, there's two types of pottery that you can make using concrete at home. There's small pots and large pots. And I'm a fan of large pots, which I wanted to start making for a long time. And I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But I did make one small one, and that's this one. Let me just show you how gorgeous this pot is. It is so smooth. It is so beautiful. See right here? It hasn't cured completely, so it's a little bit fragile, but we're going to leave it to cure overnight. In fact, I did put it in water to cure, but I'm going to show you all of this right now. Okay? So, let's get started. Starting off with the pot that I've already made. Now, I did use this bucket, and I set this can of oil, this is like oil-based paint, inside this bucket, and then I left 2 centimeters distance in between them, and I poured my mixture. Then, in order to unbox this, or just unmold it, I had to turn it, flip it backwards like this, upside down, and then I had to pour hot water on top of this bucket in order for it to get malleable enough for me to lift up the bucket and be left with just the concrete part, this. So, but the problem with that is that we have a metal can inside, and it's not plastic. What I should have done, I should have put a plastic one inside. And then what I could have done is poured the hot water inside the plastic and then unmold very easily. But I didn't do that. Why? Because it was my first time doing it. So, in order to unmold this one, now I have to resort to basically pouring out the contents in the hopes that sooner or later, we can get rid of that metal can inside, and be left with a beautiful, just beautiful white pot. Now, I'm not sure if this is water-based paint or if this is oil-based paint. I think it looks like oil, but it could be water, so I don't know. But don't hold me, don't hold it against me. I just basically made a mistake. So let's just transfer the contents. Don't make the same mistake as myself to put a metal can inside your mold, because it will be difficult to unmold eventually when you're ready to unmold. Okay, so we're starting off with just the unmolding process, so I can show you how difficult it is when you don't pay attention enough. You can also stain your concrete vase or planter with an oil-based lacquer like this one. So what we could do theoretically is we could use it to rub it on our concrete and make it nice and shiny and beautiful. So we're going to try and do that at the end of this process, or maybe just now. We'll see. So I'm sort of improvising because I'm not a pro. I haven't done it very many times, but I'm very crafty, and I've watched a ton of videos on the subject, which means I should be able to do a very good job. And I think I've done. I mean, I think my first pot, which is this one, turned out quite beautiful. The only problem is the unboxing or the unmolding part. So now I'm just rubbing it with this lacquer, with this polyurethane. Could just be polyurethane. I'm not sure the contents of it, but it should make for a very beautiful pot. In fact, this was bought for this decking material, for the deck. And we just never got around to, sealing our deck. That's why I have it lying around, and I just used it for a mold today. Okay, so see how beautiful? Now, you'll notice that it's chipping corners. That means that it hasn't cured properly. A proper curing of a concrete pot will involve around 3 or 4 days of curing. And where I cure it is inside water. Okay, so I put it inside this pot of water and I let it cure overnight. Now, what I did do wrong is that I didn't wait long enough for this thing to cure on its own without water. So then it just started chipping a little bit more. But there is a solution for that, and that is your metal brush. Okay, so with your metal brush, you can just rub it on the ends like this and just make the ends a little bit rough, because I don't want them pointy anyway. And you have to do it while this is still soft, while the concrete is soft. And when it's soft, it'll create a nice rounded edge. But if you wait until it's nice and hard, then how are you going to remove that pointy edge? It's going to be quite difficult, if not impossible. Okay, so I think we've rounded it off pretty nicely. And then on the bottom, what I've done is this right here in the middle. This is a piece of styrofoam like this. I've put it there in order to have a nice little hole on the bottom. Okay, and as you can see, since it's still soft, I'm able to make a nice hole even with just using my fingernail. And this should be leading to a piece of styrofoam eventually. I don't know where the styrofoam is yet, but you always want to have a nice, hole in the bottom for drainage, because if you don't drain your pots, your plants are not going to thrive, and you want them to be nice and drained in order to thrive. Okay, so let's remove these gloves. Let's toss them aside and have a new fresh pair. Now, from what I've gathered by watching a lot, and I mean a lot, of pottery videos, is that you can make quite good money doing this as well, because the concrete is quite cheap. The aggregate, which is vermiculite, is quite cheap. Actually, vermiculite is supposed to be more expensive than other aggregates. You can also use sand. You can also use perlite, and you can also use peat moss. So, what I'm gonna ask Jelio to do is bring me my pot of hot water to try and unmold this thing here so that we can free up the concrete vase. Please? Thank you. This is thanks. This is definitely an oil-based paint, because you see what's happening? There's all kinds of oil when I rubbed it on the decking material. Thank you. And this is very hot, so we got to be careful with that. So if it's an oil-based paint, I'm not sure how this water is going to mix with the contents, but it should still, you see how it beat it up? That means it's not water-based. Okay. What I reckon I could do is just with a sledgehammer, once this is cured and dry, I could just hit it with the sledgehammer and have it unmold easily. Okay, so for right now, we're just going to leave it to cure in water. Okay, so right there, this is good. Now I'm gonna retrieve from my water these other cupcakes that I made with concrete again. Okay, so this is what they look like. They're basically white concrete and vermiculite inside a silicone mold, like a cupcake mold. And I'm going to tell you what the purpose of these is, because you might be wondering. Because I've watched so many videos of people making these, and I've wondered why would they make them? But then I figured it out, and these are basically legs. They are pottery and planter legs. So once you unmold them, they should become like this. And then if you want, you can make them nice and rounded again with your steel brush. Right there. And they look nice and rounded on the bottom anyway. But basically this would be your leg. So once you have like a nice pot going, let's say this is your pot, you can stick those legs on the bottom, you see? And you will have it standing on 3 legs or 4 legs, however many you fancy, basically. Now let's get started with making our new pot, okay? This is a little bit of a mess here, but don't judge me, okay? Trust the process and everything should be okay. You see right here? What happened was the hot water and the cold water mixed. And I really don't think, I mean, for the curing, it will be helpful, but I really don't think it's gonna help me to unmold this. I'm gonna have to hit it with the sledgehammer. Okay, so I'm just unmolding my little legs. It's very satisfying. And the easiest thing to have with concrete is a silicone mold. These silicone molds are extremely easy to mold and unmold. Also are these plastic containers. So any kind of bucket or container is extremely easy to mold and unmold because you will just pour the hot water on top of it and everything just pops right out. But when you're using something else like metal or glass, for glass, you just have to break the glass. For metal, I think you'll just have to break the metal, okay? And for silicone, it just peels right off. And for plastic, it will become malleable once you pour the hot water on it. So now that we've put our little legs here to cure inside water, and this little thing is also curing. Oh my gosh, this is starting to come out. Do you see this? It's starting to pop out. Or does it just seem that way? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm gonna make an experiment here. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna experiment here for a second. Do you have a sledgehammer? Do you have a hammer? Any kind of hammer? I'm sure you do. Can you bring me one?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, I can hear it fizzing. So I've made some kind of a reaction. Oh no! We've cracked our pot! No way, no how! Oh my god! We've broken our pot! This is such a pity. Oh my god. You see what a solid base I had on it? This would have been such a nice pot. Oh well, we learn from our mistakes and the next one will be much better. So there's our styrofoam. This is our can. This is our pot. And we just toss it in the trash and start all over again. Just like we do with all kinds of things in life. Let me know in the comments if you, what you think, what do you think about what I just did? Jesus Christ. Not only did I make a mess with my deck, but also I broke my pot, which I so carefully oil stained and cured and everything. All the other steps were correct. Only the metal can step was incorrect. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a part 2. Okay, part 2 of this process where I'm gonna make, you see I have everything prepared to make a brand new pot. a brand new planter, and then we're gonna get together and we're gonna make that one together, okay? Until then, I'm just showing you my mistake. I mean, that was clearly a string of mistakes that I've made. In fact, what I could do is I could probably just sledgehammer these pieces and use them to mix with my new concrete mixture, okay? So hopefully that wouldn't be a mistake. What do you think? Hopefully. You see, it just becomes very crumbly. Next time I'm going to use the regular concrete, because I'm not sure what's happening with this gluey mixture of marmadon, which is what we use to glue tiles on the walls and on the floor. So I'm not going to use as much marmadon next time. I'm just going to use the concrete. Hopefully it will be much better, much more sturdy, much more concrete-like than what we just did. Okay, do you agree with me? Let me know. Bye. Love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.